Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Unshakable Soul podcast. My name is Sophia Winmasikat, and we are on episode 76 today. And I have with me Rachel Maria. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you so much for having me, Sophia.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while that I've had a guest, and I'm excited to have you here and talk about your expertise in plant medicine, in microdosing, remembering our true nature, ceremonies, rituals, and all this great stuff. So yeah, Rachel is the founder of Maya Luna, a microdosing and earth medicine education platform that's devoted to intention, relationship, and a true reverence to the natural world. So her work bridges ancient wisdom with modern living, supporting people to cultivate more grounding and mindful, sustainable relationships with plant medicines. So your bread and butter sounds to be microdosing education, and I'm excited for you to dive more into that throughout this conversation that we're going to have. And I know you have a couple offerings coming up, so make sure you're staying until the end of this conversation to get into the juice and see what Rachel has in store for you, because she has a lot of cool things going on. Yeah, but for the sake of this conversation, I want to open it up because some people that are listening are new to anything plant medicine, or they've heard it before, but they're wanting to know more about plant medicine. There's a variety of plant medicines. What does it actually do? Like microdosing versus macrodosing. So I'll let you kind of this space right now, Rachel, to share a bit about how you were introduced to the medicine and what it actually opened up for you and what it brought to your life until now.
Sure. Thank you so much. And thank you for the intro. And there's a lot in that opening. So I'm sure we'll unpack it as we go through the conversation. So just to start, how I came to be in this place now and offering and facilitating with mainly microdose mushrooms and cacao ceremonies. Um, so it was during COVID. Um, Everything was closed down and gyms were closed. And I've always been a very active person, going to the gym a lot. And my partner and I decided that we wanted to run outdoor boot camps. And we started putting together these classes and getting people signed up. And I realized that my anxiety around teaching and public speaking was reaching this really strong peak. I've suffered from anxiety and depression and all of the stuff that comes with it for most of my life, as far back as I can remember. I've been a quite anxious person, but I've always had this deep need to help people heal and to teach. It's just in me, and the anxiety has always made it really, really hard. So as the date of our first boot camp drew closer, my anxiety was again like reaching this like increasingly peak level where I was starting to cry a lot. I was starting to feel sick to my stomach. Alongside that, those weeks leading up to this boot camp, I'd somehow, through divine whatever, learned about microdosing. It must have been on a podcast, someone I follow. And I decided to order off some company. I don't even know who they are on the internet. And I received a package of microdoses. I didn't know much about them except for wherever I'd heard this concept of them before. And intuitively, I just started taking one, I believe, every other day. So one day on and one day off. And I did this for several weeks. And this was alongside my anxiety peaking. And then as the date of that first boot camp drew closer, where I thought I was going to not be able to do it, there was a point where a switch, it was like a light switch or something just went. And I realized, oh my God, it's been like a few days and I haven't cried. And I have no more butterflies in my tummy. And I actually feel like excited about this boot camp. And I'm telling you, it was like a switch.
Mm.
Something just clicked. And I had no intention with the medicine. I had no idea what I was doing, just that I was drawn to it and that it worked. And so this medicine is extremely powerful at giving you what you need the most. And I didn't even ask outwardly what I needed. It was just a call. It was literally a calling. And the medicine found its way to me in my deepest, you know, need for it. And so I continued on this path of microdosing with, I might have ordered one more container from this company. And as I found more balance, more regulation in my nervous system, the teacher in me emerged more and more and more. And I had acquaintances in various, let's say, fringe business. And they said, why don't you make your own company? This is an upcoming thing. Like, if you're feeling that great about it, like, why don't you start doing it yourself? And because I was like, I don't want to have to pay for it if I have friends that have mushrooms. So I started making my own, and then I started sharing them with other people. And it literally grew into what it is. And I'm on a podcast today, and I've been on several podcasts, and I've spoken in front of crowds, and it's all thanks to the mushroom. And the mushroom is what's guiding me through so much of what my life has been since um, April 2021 or whatever it was till now, January 2026, has been the guidance of the medicines I work with, pushing me forward to help other people. Um, and my work and the work of the mushrooms is subtle. It's not in your face. It's not um, any pressure, because how the plant medicine came to me, it just knew, and it came and it landed. And for anybody who gets that little whisper in their mind, like maybe I should talk to Rachel, that's like the mushrooms doing their little thing where they're just like, they kind of just use me along the way. And I don't mean that in any sort of egotistical way, but they're using me along the way where I will spark something through a podcast like this or a post I share. Um, there's just subtle energies at play all the time, trying to get their little spores spread throughout, so that we can help more people. So that's how I came into this work. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful story, and I know there's a lot more to unpack, but
Mm.
it really sets the tone for this conversation. And I think it speaks to a lot of people, especially the people that listen to my podcast, that, are feeling, women, especially that feel confused, overwhelmed, anxious, a lot of anxiety there, and that are craving this deeper connection. And it sounds like for you, the mushrooms was that gateway into reconnecting with who you truly are. And you're speaking also to purpose, like that calling that maybe before mushrooms you never were able to fulfill, and it kept you maybe feeling anxious, or like your soul's like, you're going on this path, but you got this anxiety thing that you need to deal with, that led the mushrooms to you. For some other people, it may be a different gateway, but it's beautiful that you're there's something I want to highlight here from your journey. It's, again, this is between the lines, I was feeling into it. It's perhaps this deeper surrendering. Because again, the mushrooms, like, we have to be receptive to the mushrooms. We have to be receptive, whether you take mushrooms or sound healing or dancing, whatever is the medicine and the gateway back to truth, back to self. It's like, am I open to receive? And a lot of the times we're not. A lot of the times ego's in, ego thinks, I got this, I can hold it all together, I'm going to try and force a solution or think my way through it. But ultimately the medicine is showing us, like, whoa, like, when you become this vessel, when you actually surrender and come to your knees and acknowledge humbly, I don't know,
Mhm.
Like,
And not
and
only that, it's also coming even to sound healing or to dance or to plant medicine and counting on it to do all the work.
mm,
Um, I'm always telling people like this, you have to meet it. Like you said, like you can go to a sound bath and expect, great things for the, $60 you spent to go there. And again, if you're not surrendered,
mm,
because that sound healing can be just as powerful as, a holotropic breath work or a plant medicine ceremony. It can be enormously healing to sit in a sound vibration. And like you said, if you're not open and receptive and understand that at the end of the way, the vibration is hitting you, and you then there's the work in there because there's vibration all around us, but it's always what's here that is going to create the actual change, right? It's the vibration is still hitting us, the medicine is still hitting us, but it's got to be received inside, and then the change can take place. It's always a meeting.
it's the
Yeah.
meeting. And your journey and experience in that moment before your boot camp, it sounded as though you mentioned it was intuitive, the way that you were taking it. I'm not sure if there was any ceremony at that point or any ritual,
Yeah.
but let's talk about that. Like, was it more, oh, I'm taking it when I need it, or just intuitively? Was there a transformation after with, let me take it intentionally through ceremony and ritual? How did the ceremony and ritual come into play?
Mm. I think it kind of organically unfolded. When I was taking those first capsules for the month or so that I was using it, it was literally just like a supplement. Like I didn't have, now when I coach people or train people with microdosing practice, there's the offer to at least pause for at least one breath, maybe five, but at least one, and just offer a thank you, a piece of gratitude or a prayer of like, I need a little help today, or like, oh, I hope, this happens, or what. There's a moment, there's a pause, and that can be the ritual around your microdosing practice. But again, I didn't have anything. It just unfolded into that when I realized the power of this. I was a recreational drug user for my teenage years and through my 20s, and I was a heavy drug user and addict for many, many years. Um, and I'll also, actually, I would love to share a story. It's my favorite story, and anyone who knows me has heard this story before. Um, a lot of people come to microdosing or psychedelic practice with addiction or substance use problems. And I do hear from people like, you're still taking something. Like, how can you call yourself sober? I quit drinking also during the pandemic, but I quit drinking before I started microdosing. So in October of 2020, so it was 10/10/2020, a really beautiful date that I love, um, was my last drink, and that was my sober date. And then I started microdosing early 2021. And within 6 months of microdosing, the mushrooms dropped in very, very clearly. I was just standing in the kitchen and they just plopped into my mind. And they said, we came to you in October 2020 and we helped you quit drinking. And I wasn't like an alcohol, I can say that. Like I wasn't an alcoholic, but I was having wine every weekend, sometimes midweek, to the point where I didn't enjoy it anymore. I didn't enjoy being drunk in front of my children. I didn't enjoy being drunk in front of my partner. I just didn't want to anymore. But the mushrooms dropped in and said, we went to you in October 2020 and we cleared your vessel. And even though I hadn't been consuming them, in any like I said, intentional way. They knew my role coming forward, and they went back in time and they met me there to help me get sober. And then they said, and then you were clear. Once you started microdosing, your body was clear for 6 months already. Then you started microdosing. Then your path unfolded. But we had a part of that because mushrooms don't play in time and space. They play in other realms. And I truly believe that they worked that way, that they went to me and said, you have a path and we're going to help you in our magical way get clear. And they got me clear. And then once I got clear, the mushrooms were able to do what they, were here to do for me and then thus to share with other people. So it was a really beautiful unfolding with that type of thing. But yeah, there's a lot of stigma around the use of psychedelics in the sober community or even just in the spiritual community, that it's some sort of fast track or shortcut or, not pure sense of reaching enlightenment. And there are many paths to God. None are better than the other. There are people, sitting on the streets of Ottawa right now who are probably on their path to God in some other way. Um, we could say that even taking a deep breath when we need to pause and relax our nervous system is a path to that same thing. And it's all a path to the same thing. And I don't judge people for judging me, and I don't judge people for their path. I went through my own addictions so that I could see others with so much compassion, and to stop othering people. Like there is no them, there is no they. It's all, we're all, like, even as far as like government stuff, like there's no they, because where do you separate it? You can't. We're all, the ecosystem is what it is. And coming to um, God in our own way, whether that's through Jesus or breath work or microdosing, um, I just see it like an ecosystem, like a forest that's working um, for the greater good of all of it, and to not separate it as one is more pure, one is, the other. There's shade trees, there's roots, there's squirrels, and they're all playing their part in this forest. And we're doing the same thing with our practices too, right? That's how I see it. So,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Wow, thanks. Whew.
Yeah.
That in
I don't even
itself,
know if you
like,
had a, I don't know if you had a question in there, but that's,
no, this is what I love about these conversations. You're just going in and maybe the medicine is speaking through you, right? This is
mhm.
beautiful. And it's exactly the medicine that maybe somebody listening to this is needing to hear. What I want to offer as weaving into this conversation is, I guess I want to share a little bit of my own journey of microdosing.
Please do.
Yeah, no, it's for me, it was not actually microdosed. I had three journeys. I wouldn't say they're macro, they were medium, but they were enough for me to receive the message. But my own journey with them, and I have been taking them for a year now. It's been almost a year, yes, because I got the message. There came a point, and we talked about this before in our previous conversation, where I was trying to, as a Scorpio, as a person that just loves the shadow and loves to dive into the depths, like I was really wanting to go deep, and I was believing there was more to heal. There's more, there's more. I was trying to open Pandora's box over and over again when it had already been open 4 years ago, more, but consciously like 4 or 5 years ago, like a lot of us, like for COVID.
Mhm.
And then, but I was trying to like figure out what more, show me more. And my recent experience about a year ago, I was in March walking in the forest because I like to have them in nature, part of the experience. And I was with my hands on my eyes, and I was like in the darkness. It was daylight, but I was like wanting to be in the shadow. And the medicine, of course, has its beautiful way of revealing to you what you need to experience or see or feel in that moment, in that journey. And I remember this unfolding. Like when you truly surrender, you're not fucking guiding. You realize that like nobody, you're not in control. And for a lot of people, it's scary to hear that, but really, truly, in the most beautiful way, in that moment, it was an opening of my arms and of my heart and a turning. I kid you not, Rachel. Like I was not fucking guiding my body. I was being guided to turn to the sun that was on my left, like this. And my arms open, open, open. And my right hand was touching a cedar tree.
Mm.
In that fucking moment, I was just like bawling my eyes. Because in that moment, like you had that realization for you in the kitchen doing something else, like, oh my gosh, I had in that moment the it was like the culmination of all my experiences I've had with the medicine. And that's the moment where I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'll take it from here.
Mm.
I'll take it from here, not in the ego sense of like, whoa. Like that was the integration, that moment where it was like everything came down to that realization that I'm actually meant to share and open myself to the light and stop hiding.
Mhm.
And that was the moment I realized, fuck, I've been not wanting to do the work and I've been actually hiding myself through the medicine.
Mhm.
Of course, there was deep reverence for the medicine and I was having my little ceremony before my dosage, but it was like a crutch for me,
Mhm.
right? And I'm not trying to shame anybody that is taking the microdoses intentionally and with perhaps a purpose to heal. But I think this is my way of inviting people to realize that you're already healed, or you can enter into that energy of I'm healed, I'm already whole. And
Mhm.
that the medicine, whether that's ayahuasca, mushrooms, dance modality, whatever it is, breathwork, it's simply guiding you back to God, source, your
Mhm.
higher self, Allah, Buddha, whoever you believe in, is actually really guiding us and loving us and supporting us throughout the whole human experience.
The crazy thing about the mushroom is there's inherently not an addictive quality to them.
Mhm.
They work until they don't work, until you don't need them. There's no need to continue to pursue when the message is clear. You know, you can tap in every so often, once a year if you'd like, but the message is, and that's how God made them or source made it. It made them so that this is it. It's now done. And it can be done just like that. Whereas other substances can become habit forming or whatnot, but mushrooms are not like that because they're meant to offer a message. And as a business owner who works with mushrooms and facilitates the sourcing of mushrooms, um, it's a very odd business model to have a product that you want to work so well they don't need it. Um, So I've had to wrap my mind around that, which has brought me more into the educational side of things rather than being a product to sell, because that's not it. What is it is this story that we're sharing today. It is how do we get there? And then in the getting there and in the helping more people get there, um, at the end of the day, that is the web that is going to shift, because I know all of us is deeply calling for a shift and some new thing to come in, but really what's happening is the one by one, you know, the ripple effect. Because if I'm in a more loving, safe body, safe community, and so on, family, and we're in a safe family where the children feel loved, or at least, you know, are fed rather than mom and dad going out to the bar, whatever it is, and we're healing ourselves, and then touch by touch, you know, we're touching those around us and creating a sense of love that spreads and spreads and spreads. That is the medicine of our time. And that is why these things and these ceremonies, be it plant medicine or other, are huge right now, because we need to touch and touch and touch and touch more and more people, because we feel the call to it so deeply that this is going to be where, the new earth stems from. It's not from that top down. It's a growth from the bottom up. We're holding it now. Our work is so important, because when I'm healed and I'm safe to be around and I'm loving, and that's what I share, and that's what I work on, and people see me work on it. Um, that is really the medicine of our time, is this change taking place. I heard a podcast the other day, and I shared a little bit on my Instagram the other day about stress in the body, and how it leads to inflammation. And when we're inflamed, it can affect our health. So whether we're stressed about something, real, maybe it's a loss of a job, or we're stressed because of a boot camp or something, and we let it fester and perpetuate, can lead to disease in the body. And when we're diseased, is when sleep is poor, and eating is bad because we didn't sleep well. Then we don't eat well. Then maybe we snap at our kids in the morning, and then they go to school and have a bad day, and then the teacher sends home a letter, and then you yell at your husband, and it perpetuates. So not only is the stress felt in our own bodies, but it is contagious. And so contagious stress leads to a sick society. And we see that so clearly right now. But just as stress and inflammation and toxicity can spread through families and workplaces and road rage, so is the opposite. A healed person can not just be a neutral environment for someone else to be around, but a healed and safe individual can also spread light. And so I just found that concept so absolutely gorgeous, because not only do we, not only can we stop toxicity and stress from reaching us if we are in a regulated state, but we can then, like a Care Bear, bounce back love towards someone who's stressed and calm them, so that then they can go on to maybe not snap at the next person, or choose an alcoholic drink or a piece of cake that would not serve them, and perpetuate it. And so, yeah, so just always coming back to this concept where it's never just one thing. It's all interwoven. And so here we are, like, running in this like spiral of oneness. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's coming through right now is, as you mentioned, the new earth and the time that we're in right now, things are shifting, right? There is definitely a rise coming through, rise of the feminine, with
Mhm.
it the rise of the divine masculine, but with
Mhm.
it comes the chaos before the divine order. And right now, especially in Capricorn season, we're recording this January 14th, before also a new moon, January 18th. So weaving some astrology in here, as the potency of it is Capricorn is like the old system. Capricorn rules and is ruled by Saturn. It's like this constrictive for a lot of parts, kind of like structured, regimental. But it's also like, let us envision long term, like sustainable long term growth. What is the foundation I need, the system, the structure, the support that I need right now to create the life that I wish to live in? And it's not only for myself, because as you just mentioned, when I choose love over fear, let's say,
Mhm.
then that ripples. And it's not about me forcing my new way of being on somebody else. No, it's a natural effect of resonance when one heart is speaking to another without even words. And this is what I want to weave into this conversation, this embodied leadership, authentic leadership. There's no forcing.
Mhm.
There's no domination. It's not power over. It's also not a guru. It's not a pedestaling of Rachel and Sophia know what they're talking about. I want to drink from their medicine. No, it's, of course, inspiring through our words, through us living our very raw human experience and giving people permission also to have their own experience, to, cry, rage in a safe way, in a constructive way, to channel that energy into greater purpose, into creating a new reality where we all get to live authentically and connected in more harmony, beauty, love, whatever it is that we're creating. But it comes down to, and I think that's where the work really is. It's, oh, through all the messages I'm receiving through microdosing, through breath work, through the podcasts I'm listening to, like, it's not about consuming more information. It's not about consuming more medicine in whatever form you're doing it. It's about allowing yourself to finally be who you're meant to be. Like, like what happened with you, like the medicine said, yes, you are anxious when it comes down to basically be seen, which a lot of women share, the visibility wound, right? The fear of being seen because we were literally burned at the stake. But medicine is saying you have a higher purpose. It's time to step into it. It's not going to be comfortable, but if you'll allow me, I'll guide you.
Mhm.
Hmm. I'll guide you home. So, yes, it
Mhm.
required nervous system recalibration. It required releasing and shedding of some sort of the beliefs that you weren't deserving of teaching a boot camp class. Like, this is ultimately the work, which a lot of people turn away from. They want the quick fix. They believe somebody else has the answer. They believe that person with 1 million followers probably knows more than them. Fuck. So as you mentioned, the business model that you're running, it's funny because I was feeling the same way. I was like, yeah, no, I know like I've done my job, quote unquote, when somebody doesn't need me anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Which is like some people would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I'm like, literally, this is it. Like the key, you found the key and you've unlocked in yourself. And I'm simply like the guide being with my lantern, with my lived experience and all my shit I went through and the integration back into wholeness from fragmentation, believing I'm broken and needing more help and healing, to, whoa, I'm actually whole. And I love who I am and I love who I'm becoming and I'm loving my grief and I'm honoring it. And I love my passion, my intensity, my fire, and I'm channeling it. And I love my tears because they're cleansing me, right? And they're revealing every single time truth to me, right?
Beautiful.
So I don't know where we're going on this, but
You were talking about leadership,
yes.
and there's so many amazing teachers out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's, the Tony Robbins and there's amazing teachers and gurus out there. But when I think of leadership now, again, like you said, the rise of the divine feminine and the rise of the divine masculine, we're seeing more and more men coming together in really healthy relationships with each other, which has been, and women too, coming together with the sister wounds and the witch wounds coming together now. You and I collaborating on this podcast and possibly collaborating in the future. This is leadership. And this again is a message from nature. Great nature works in symbiosis, in partnership, in community, in collaboration. Um, this is the new way, right? It is coming together. And because our business models are such that sometimes people don't need us anymore, um, when we can tap in and network with each other in a healthy way, there's no competition here for me to come to you and your community and take or feel jealous of or anything like that. No, we're coming together to provide, because maybe my story will resonate with someone in your community, and maybe your voice, your podcast, your message will resonate with someone in my community. and then we weave. That's what we do. We weave. And this is the new leadership. This is what's coming forth is strong collaborations, even short collaborations. But like you said, it's the end of the guru. It's the end of pedestals. Yeah, we're even seeing the end of so many um, celebrity cultures. Sometimes feels like people are like, we're not into you anymore. Like like we all want to be at this level where we can see each other face to face. Like we heal and we can be of service to someone when we can look eye to eye with someone, which is why in those ceremonies we sit in a circle.
Mm.
It's very unusual to see someone sitting up on a chair and the rest of us sitting in a circle. The shaman, the facilitator, we're all at the same level, and thus we can mirror to each other. Everything that I say in a circle usually resonates with everyone else, and vice versa, because you can be the last person to speak in a ceremony or like a gathering, and you're like, oh, everyone already said everything, because it's true. We're all here mirroring each other.
Yeah.
And again, this is where we come to like our growth is met through collaboration and through meeting each other halfway, part way, 80% of the way, so that we can grow and expand in healthy ways. Yeah. So that's how I see like leadership now. It's more like, okay, I'm going to come down here and let's work together, because then the community, the ecosystem is better served. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to add on that, it really beautifully encompasses the bridging of the mystical to the mundane.
Mhm.
It's not about like, let's say, it's really about realizing your everyday life is a living ceremony.
Absolutely.
It literally is. So as you were speaking, I was also feeling to the people that maybe don't feel a calling to, let's say, be in an influential position, air quotes here, in the sense of building a business and whatever we perceive again as like leadership, teaching, blah, blah. You as a mom, you as a dad, you as a sister, a brother, like you as a random person on the street, you are as much of a leader than anybody else, than Tony Robbins, than me, than Rachel. This is literally the paradigm shifting right now. It's the we, it's the me and the we. And this is especially potent in July when the nodes of fate will shift. Right now they're in Virgo and Pisces, which is teaching us like we are one, basically trust and surrender to to your highest, greatest destiny. They're going to shift Leo and Aquarius, which is the me and we. Leo is like me, self-leadership, creativity, like let's create. Like it's what I want. But it's shifting us to Aquarius. The North Node's in Aquarius, which is let's collectively, as you're mentioning, as you beautifully stated this, collective energy of, and I get to use my creative energy to fuel a greater reality for everybody. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see much more collaborative efforts here. So if you're listening to this and you're a mother and you're like, okay, this is all great, Rachel and Sophia, like I got a family of 4 or 2 or 1, whatever. By the way, you have the most important role as a mom or dad. Let's remember that. When you are taking responsibility of your own emotions, of your nervous system, and connecting to your body in whatever way you do, going in nature, microdosing, dancing, meditation seated, whatever it is, when you take the time for you and you fill your own cup, then you are the best model for this generation and the next. Because unconsciously, a lot of us are projecting our pain onto others. This is no new news that I'm sharing here. So your leadership, maybe in this lifetime, is just owning your fucking bullshit and releasing what is not yours to carry. And choosing, okay, what are your values? What actually truly matters? if what truly matters is your family and you want to spend more time with your family, more presence and be more present with them, but you find yourself scrolling and multitasking and rushing around and always being at work, like there are things you cannot control in life, of course, but the things you can control, your time, your energy, how you care for your body, what you choose to believe and think, and the words you choose to speak, choose them. Those are
We
spells.
we outsource so much.
Outsource. Yes, riff on that one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, just yeah, always counting on someone else, person, place, thing, substance to create what we're hoping to see. Like for your example, as a parent, um, outsourcing to the schools, outsourcing to other parents, checking on Facebook for the answer to what should I do with my kid when none of us were born with the playbook, but there is when we quiet our minds, when we stop scrolling, when we replace one bad habit with a good one, and it starts to unfold with that, we become more present. There's more presence. There is a greater access to the knowing that we were inherently born with as a woman or as a man, to be that parent, to be that brother, to be that whichever in the family, and to learn to stop outsourcing. I see it so much in the coaching space too. And I'm in groups and a lot of people ask questions and I'm like, you should know that. Like sometimes some and it's great to be part of something that you can ask questions to in Facebook and all of the things. But deep down, if you quiet the mind and you quiet all of that other stuff, you know, you know the answer. And
Yeah.
if you don't know, it's because there's static and noise. And you know, it's hard to not want to numb out or outsource our power to someone else. But like you said, you can become, even if you don't want to run your own business, you can become the person who is in power. You are in power of your family. You are in power of your land. You are in power of your body. Do not give that to someone else willingly, freely. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And here it's really important. Let's highlight this. Let's highlight this is what a lot of people may be thinking right now. It's like, yeah, but how do I quiet the mind?
Mhm.
Because again, we mentioned this at the beginning. The base state right now of a lot of humanity is stress. All you
Mhm.
have known is stress. I am very anxious. I don't know what is mine, what is yours, right? And deeper truth, I actually don't want to see and feel the truth because then that will require me to get out of the relationship that's toxic. That's going to require me to set some sort of boundary. That's going to require me also to pick my balls up and say yes to my highest destiny.
Mhm.
Fuck me.
And
Much
that's why
easier.
people are so afraid of psychedelics, terrified. I thought owning this business that we would have a floodgate of people coming to us. And then I
Mm.
realized, oh no, no one wants to look at their shit. Even
Yeah.
even a microdose is terrifying to so
Mm.
many people. I'm not surprised anymore now that the deeper I'm into this, but the amount of fear of looking at your own shit or your own shadow is wild. No one wants to look at their shit. Um,
It's
and
so ironic because in your shit is the lotus. Remember, no mud, no lotus.
it's the mushroom.
Is the mushroom. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and in the mud is what you actually truly desire, but you're afraid of it. So here's the beautiful paradox. So the more you resist it, the more you're pushing away what you truly want.
Mm-hmm. And the deeper the mud can get, the more you push it away. And like I said, when that spiral of stress and inflammation, I don't want to look at my shit. I'm going to have another beer. Well, then that leads to the poor sleep and then the crappy morning at work and. And
Yeah.
so the deeper you go away from it, the worse it can get and the harder it can be. to find that thing that can kind of help you get out of it. Whereas if you can surrender, we used that word earlier, surrender to at least a little bit, then, the spiral can go in the other direction. Okay, maybe if I just stop doing this one thing, I don't have to change all of it, but it can have, a domino effect in your life too. It doesn't always have to be a domino effect in the negative. You can do things little by little and make shifts. And that's also the beauty of a microdose. You don't have to, fly to outer space on your couch on a Friday night and see God, see aliens, see dinosaurs, whatever. The beauty of the microdose is this very subtle, gentle door, this little thin veil that's just kind of like, hey,
Mhm.
maybe let's look at this thing over here. Um, but it's so subtle, but it's a powerful medicine, don't get me wrong. But it's so subtle that sometimes you don't even know. It's like me with the switch. I was like, oh, I'm different. Um, and that's why I love working with this medicine in this way, is because it is so terrifying for people. And that's a really big job for a facilitator to hold. As we see on the internet the self-proclaimed shamans and whatnot and gurus who just say, come to my retreat and blah blah blah, and um, may not be able to hold someone in their deepest trauma. And going forward, it could be months of integrating a very large experience. With microdosing, again, the effect is so subtle, and you can take it and still go to work. You can take it and still manage your children. You can take it and be in nature and not be um, so out of your mind that it's hard to manage, just the functioning of your body. Um, and slowly over time unpack all of this stuff that needs to be looked at, stuff you didn't even know was there, you know, or stuff that maybe you just say, I want to sleep better. And the microdoses are actually helping you with something else during the day be more calibrated in your nervous system. And thus you sleep better. They're not a sleep aid, but they can help regulate you in such a way that maybe your sleep is better. And then when you wake up more rested, you're calmer. And so they work in this really beautiful, um, kind of like this holistic way where it can be used in almost any body. I will say it is so universal. It is not just meant for one specific type of condition or anything, because they have a way of saying, okay, you need help with this. Well, actually, I feel like if we just move this stuff around, then this thing that you're really truly wishing would be different. Then we'll get to that, because it'll come after we kind of fix this stuff over here. So yeah, and then they can help you look at your shit really gently, really gently. It's not so scary, but it can be like, oh, like you kind of can see it from this like broader perspective, like, oh, I was afraid of that thing. Like, oh, it's not so scary now. So they're just so great at that. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds as though it's integration in real time,
Mm,
basically,
yeah.
instead of, as you mentioned, that like big whoosh experience and then slow, like integrating or sometimes re-traumatizing and
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because sometimes it can be like that. What the heck was that? I don't know what to do with it. No one can explain the visions I saw or the feelings I had,
Yeah.
no one can explain it to me. And so what do I do with it? And then it can really hurt. It can really hurt.
Yeah, I didn't again have a macrodose, but it was big enough to provoke this, oh my gosh, again, the wow, interconnectedness with life and I can trust life. But then quickly after, like trying to share this story and then feeling very isolated and kind of, again, the lack of integration. Like, how do I ground this into my everyday life? Like, feeling like kind of like wanting to rush and to like share, but then realizing that there was a very crucial piece of like the embodiment was missing and the integration was missing. So I don't regret at all the choice to have that dosage, but I can see the benefits of what you're guiding people into. Like, it doesn't need to be this intense experience. It can be like slow and weave it through your everyday life, because I think that's what people really are looking for, especially those that cannot afford to go to Peru or Ecuador for a week ceremony. Maybe they're
Mhm.
called for that, and that's great,
Mhm.
right? But it's like, what about my everyday fucking life?
Yep.
Where magic
Because
happens.
you come home from Peru and you still have to deal with everyday life, right?
Yes.
It can be very jarring.
Hmm.
And I'm not whatsoever against large ceremonies, large doses. They have their time and place. I just really feel like this is, like you said, accessible
Hmm.
and safe and easier to talk about because it's happening in such small increments and subtle ways that the language around it can be simpler. Um, yeah, so I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm conscious of time. I know
sure.
there's your daughter to come back to, but I want to
She's at
close.
least half an hour away, so
Okay. Um, but I feel we riffed about a lot. I loved how this conversation flowed. I do want to open a space for you to share what's coming up. I know you
yes.
have an online event coming up and maybe some more things. So
Mhm.
again, for people that are curious, they want to know more about microdosing and working with you, perhaps share a little bit
Mhm.
about what's coming up.
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity and also for the conversation. It was gorgeous. So I hope your listeners and watchers get some beautiful value from it and mine as well as I will be sharing. So yeah, so I do full-time microdosing coaching right now. I do one-on-ones and I do group work. We just finished our group in December. So I'll be opening up a new group, I think at the end of February, early March. I am co-creating with a woman I know from Florida. She works mostly in big medicine ceremonies, but she also does microdosing coaching as well. So we thought it would be fun to at least start with a free webinar. We're doing it February 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's going to be like a microdosing 101. So we're going to offer what microdosing is, what it isn't, who it's for, and then open it up for questions and shares in that. It's free. So I will share any links for that with you, Sophia. Yeah, and that's to open up the conversation because we would really love to work with people collaboratively because she has people from the US, I have people from Canada, and so we'd like to run a microdosing group together. It'll probably be about 6 to 8 weeks. Um, and then coming up in a few weeks, depending on when you're airing this podcast, in January 24th, I have a beautiful event coming up. So it's the second time I've done this particular one, but it'll be the sixth time I've run a microdosing cacao and painting event. So what we do is we have like a little mini ceremony with a cup of cacao and a microdose and set a beautiful altar space and say some prayers about the creative process and tapping into your God source, like your creative energy. And then we open up to free expression. So this isn't a guided painting experiences like we see with like paint nights where you all paint a sunset or a horse. We're open to free expression on the canvas. So we allow the microdose and the cacao to take effect, as well as any of the meditations we've done together. And then we play sacred songs that would normally be sung in our regular cacao ceremonies or our ayahuasca ceremonies. So we'll be sharing sacred music live on our guitars throughout the event. That's really beautiful. Like I said, it's like the sixth time I've done it. People absolutely love tapping into their inner child, their inner artist. Um, I think that's it for stuff coming up right now. And then you and I had talked about some plans for March, but nothing is set yet. So yeah, so I'm excited for
Brewing.
that.
Something
Yeah.
different is brewing. Yeah, we mentioned like
Yes.
there's a lot of ceremonies out there, which is beautiful, but something different wants to come through. So we'll see what we can co-create. But yeah, around the spring equinox.
Hmm. And we didn't get to touch on my work with the medicine wheel and like this and that type of thing, but I'd really love to explore that
Mhm.
that piece as well at some point with you. So yeah.
You can definitely come back for another part two because this just opened the door. I mean, there's so many angles we could take on this, but of course,
Hmm.
we'll come
Hmm.
continue the conversation and hopefully this conversation we're having and the listeners will take or leave whatever they want from the conversation, but also continue that the openness to a new way of creating a reality for yourself in which you feel more safe being who you are and sharing your gifts ultimately.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So thank you, Rachel. I'll put all the links in the description for all your beautiful offerings, and I'm definitely feeling into the January 24th in person one.
Would love to have you. Yeah, would
Yeah.
love to. Okay.
All right. So thank you, listeners. Until next time, be well, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon, Rachel.
Thank you. Bye.